George is also a success story. George started off in our network operations, in our internal IT department, and was a superstar in the IT department. It didn't win him the points with his bosses when he knows more than his bosses, but that's another story, right? When you have to correct them all the time, but that's a side story. But anyway, the thing about George is, George was pure OS and applications, and he spotted something in security. And he took it upon himself to get a certified ethical hacker. Did you go through it?
I'm working on a GSEC, but I did.
You're working on a GSEC.
I did get two Cisco's.
But he took it upon himself without the company paying for it, which I'm not too big of a fan for. I'm not proud of it all. Although within our department now we pay for a lot of training because this is the pinnacle of our people, are the Secure Operations Center and the professional security guys. So he does get training now. But George took it upon himself to learn and express an interest and continually ping us by email, hey, what about this? What about this? What about this? And instead of getting tired of that and shutting him down, we encouraged you, right? I think I was one of the people that was behind you. And when George expressed an interest to move over to get the big bump in pay and move the departments, I was totally behind it. And now he's you're on the fast track, man, buddy. I mean, you're headed for management in no time at all, man. Which is another success story. So once again, another ISSA success story. So with that, George is going to present today on Windows 7 security. And with a warm welcome, let's give it to our newest presenter. It's his first big presentation.
Thank you, Pete. So today we'll be speaking about Windows 7 security. As Pete said, my name is George Orchias, and I work with Terramark. Since I am about 2-3 months in South Florida ISSA, allow me to introduce myself. I started in high school as an IT consultant about 7 years ago, working the small and residential business, and then slowly moving up doing to small and medium business IT consulting. I then went to FIU to do the Active Directory migration project, which was huge. About 3,600 machines had to be migrated to Active Directory. And after that, like Pete said, I went to corporate IT in Terramark, which was a lot bigger than anything I had done before. Learning a lot, and I started in the Security Operating Center a few months back as a security analyst. I am currently pursuing my Master's of Science in Management of Information Systems. I graduated in December. Lots of hard work. Very excited. I'm also working on authoring Microsoft Windows 7 Administrator's Reference with Syngress. It will be published in April 2010. So I hope you get that book over Microsoft Pressbooks. They teach you a little bit more, I promise.
Are you going to have a book signing?
Of course. I'll do a book signing. I'll coordinate with you.
Okay.
Because this will be my target market. It's more for administrators, not the end user. You go to see Windows 7 books, and they're mostly all for the end user, or just administrators' references, not a little bit of both. As you know, an administrator needs to know how to use the operating system, teach your users how to use the operating system, and manage many, many desktops and laptops. And I have a few certs: Cisco, Microsoft, Security Plus, and whatnot.
What's the SSDS?
That is Cisco Security Solutions Design Specialist. It was like 3 or 4 tests.
Right, okay. That's
right. So, Cisco, yeah.
That's a big one.
Yeah. Some Microsoft ones and Security Plus. I'm working on my GSEC, but I have a lot of stuff on my plate right now, so that one's in the back burner, but I'll get it. So a quick audience survey. I want to be very interactive with everyone. Be excited. I don't want you going to sleep or texting on your phones. How many people use XP still in the corporation? Wow, a lot of hands. And at home? Yeah, all right. What about Vista? A few, not too many. Windows 7? All right. 4 or 5 people. Good stuff. Mac? There you go. Awesome. I'm presenting from a Mac. You can't see it from there. Linux and Unix? Yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right. The reality of all this is that 88% of all desktop operating systems run some version of Windows. This was a survey done in March 2009. 10% run Mac, 1% Linux, And you can't really see it, but 0.5% is an iPhone for a desktop market. I find that incredible. So, in reality, and survey shows that between 78 to 94% of corporations skipped Vista. As I saw in here, a lot of you skipped Vista as well. So, new PCs were allowed to downgrade. You buy a new computer and you were allowed to downgrade or upgrade. Depends how you see it, to XP. But as Windows 7 comes out, October 22nd, you're no longer going to get that option to downgrade to XP. You're going to have to choose between Vista and 7, and I hope this will help you make a better decision as to where you go. As far as enterprise systems, you're going to be forced to upgrade from XP because they're going to terminate support. They're going to threaten that in 2014, extended support's going to be over, correct? Yeah. We have a Microsoft employee here, so he's checking me everything I say. And the reality is Windows XP is 8 years old, so we're going to be moving from it. So Windows Vista, everyone here thinks it's a failure. Why was it a failure? Bad press, people install at home, bad driver support, horrible initial release. The Service Pack 1 fixed a lot of the issues, but basically, yes, it was that bad. I'm glad you guys can relate. So, security-wise, was Vista really that much of a fail? Not so much. If we look at this chart that I actually stole from Microsoft, they had less patches to fix vulnerabilities in the first year, which was their horrible release year, than Windows XP, Mac OS, Ubuntu, and Red Hat. Furthermore, due to its UAC that no one liked, that was a little prompt before you were able to do anything, the likelihood of getting malware on Vista compared to XP Service Pack 2 was substantial. So the reason for this was a lot of security features. First of all, security development lifecycle. The previous speaker here spoke about it. After, 30 years, Microsoft realized that security was something important. So they developed this security development lifecycle where they actually check their code to make sure it's secure. Windows service hardening, all the services that come with with Vista and with new Windows 7 are a little bit more secure. Before, they would leave everything open, even stuff that you've never used in your life. They introduced Windows Defender, which I've never seen that stop any spyware, but it was just another step forward. Internet Explorer 7, it had a phishing filter. They did release, this was a big step, next generation TCP/IP. I don't know if you remember back in the day when Microsoft released the TCP/IP stack and basically took over. The new one that was introduced in Vista and built on 7 uses IP version 6 that everyone should be moving to, but not happening. IPsec and Windows filtering protocol, or platform, sorry. The Vista firewall that was introduced in XP as only outbound is now inbound for Vista. It had network access protection. Did anyone use this in their corporations to make sure that system's getting on VPN or anything? Okay, Microsoft used it. That's good to know. It had the UAC, which was the user account control. No one liked that. This was what popped up every time you try to open an application or anything you really wanted to do, install things. It was constant and very naggy credential prompting. It had code integrity, where all the operating system DLLs and executables were digitally signed. And they introduced Bitlocker, encrypted file system, and trusted platform module, which allowed for full disk encryption and whatnot. Why am I talking about all this about Vista? Because Windows 7 is an incremental update to Windows Vista. It can be seen as a service pack, but it's a little bit more than a service pack. It's its own release, but it was built on top of Vista. They came out within less than 3 years, so you can expect this not to be brand new code. But it was built on top of Vista. It uses the same technologies already in place. Therefore, everything that was compatible with Vista is now compatible with 7. And the user interface has a lot of changes, has enhancements, and a little better performance. The difference with 7 was it had an extensive user acceptance testing. How many people said they tried out the beta or the RC? A few of you in here did. And that helped this release, and It's out. Windows 7 is out for the manufacturers, and if you have TechNet or MSDN subscriptions, you could get it now. If not, October 22nd will be out. So just to touch on the new desktop features, because that's one of the big things that had. The user interface, the taskbar, which is the top right picture, the notification area, it's a little cleaner. It has a lot more arrow enhancements where you can like shake the screen and everything minimizes, or you can put two screens one next to the other. Very little things. The cool stuff was the jump list. For instance, on your taskbar, if you right-click on it, you can see the last programs you had open, or the last documents you had open, and whatnot. And all these are little things that will make you a little bit quicker on the machine, and you should train your users if you end up going to Windows 7 on how to use that. Desktop search. Anyone use desktop search at all? No? Right. They improved it a bit. It's not as slow as Vista. Before, you'd see your hard drive all day just indexing stuff. Now, it does it a little quicker and a little better. Big stuff in driver and device support. This was a huge problem with Vista, that half of your stuff wouldn't work. This time around, I haven't had trouble with almost none of the hardware I have. Some of the older machines a bit, but it's a lot better support. They have the home group, which is to make a network at home a little easier, but your expertise here will probably not use it. This is more for the home user. I still don't see mom and dad or grandpa or anything setting up a home group, but small steps. And Windows Media Player and Media Center, it's awesome. 11 came out, but I'm not going to talk about this. It is cool though. If you have a home computer, a media center or whatnot, it's cool stuff. It makes it easier. You can have remote control and literally run everything from your Windows 7 machine. So some security features we're going to talk about today is the Action Center, the better UAC support, better Bitlocker To Go, which is very cool, Biometric Security finally integrated into Windows, Internet Explorer 8, App Locker for whitelisting, Direct Access, which corporate users are going to like, and PowerShell version 2. So the Action Center, this was the security center back in XP and Vista. It's now called the Action Center. It's pretty cool if you use it. It's one central management place to run your firewall, both inbound and outbound. Windows updates, keep Windows updates, that goes without saying. Virus protection, you still need an antivirus. How many here use antivirus? Right, you still need it, and most of your users are going to need it as well. I know some of us don't run antivirus, but spyware and malware as well. It monitors it. It has Windows Defender. I still have yet to see it block any type of spyware or scareware or any of that, but it's there. Internet security settings, which is cool. That way you don't get hijacked. Your browser doesn't get hijacked. It's all controlled from one area. The user account control we'll talk about in 1 second. A lot better. And network access protection. None of you use this, but if you have VPNs or direct access, basically before any machine gets on your network, on your corporate network, it gets checked to make sure that it complies with some standards that you set. This is good if you have VPN access and say your exec goes from his home computer, which their kids use, and logs into your corporate network, which is a bunch of malware you don't want. So this integrates a little bit. There are other products out there for network access protection, and they're pretty good. The Action Center also has this maintenance area where you check for solutions to problems. You literally, if you think you have a problem with your computer, you hit check for solutions, and most often than not, it'll find some driver issues. They'll find driver updates online, like your video card driver has this faulty driver, update your driver or whatnot. It's pretty good if it's used. It allows you to back up your system, check for updates, troubleshoot, like I mentioned, and of course recover. It's pretty good. The backup and recovery, I actually used it the other day for a buddy of mine who got infected. Did a recovery, and it actually worked this time. Supports to XP and some others.
Where can you back up to? Just local DVDs?
You could back up to another local hard drive. You could back up to DVD. You could back up to external hard drives. So it's pretty good. It doesn't encrypt anything, but it's a backup. It's more than you could do before.
George, one thing I don't think you've covered is migration. Like, so you have an XP system. Are you going to cover that?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
I'm introducing all the cool stuff first,
Okay.
then we'll talk about it.
All right.
So the user access control, this was a huge problem with Vista. Everyone hated it. It was so naggy that you couldn't even open something without getting prompted. Now you could actually customize how much it notifies you. So yeah, I want you to be really annoying, or no, I don't. And now it doesn't prompt you so much. It knows what's signed and what's trusted, and it won't nag you as much. This could be helpful, could not be helpful, depends on your users. Again, I'm going to get very into the users and how they require training as you move to Windows 7. So Bitlocker, how many people do full disk encryption? Wow, expected more. Come on. So full disk encryption, what happens if you lose your laptop with company data? Anyone plugs it in and, wow, first of all, you shouldn't have any company data to begin with, but you hear all the time, 2 million social security numbers found on a stolen laptop. If you use full disk encryption, no one will be able to get into the hard drive. This was introduced in Vista. However, you had to encrypt a partition. You had to have 2 partitions in the hard drive. One was like the first one that booted. On Windows 7, it will encrypt the entire system volume, and this includes the page files and the hibernation files. So if you do lose your laptop and it's fully disk encrypted, no one will be able to get it. And I mean, no.
Does it support third-party two-factor authentication plugins, such as like an Aladdin token or
no. And actually, let me get to that. There's, like I said, no need for partitioning and whole disk encryption. It does need a trusted platform management chip, which unfortunately not that many machines come with. And your question, recovery key. All Bitlocker deployments require a copy of a recovery password to be stored somewhere. Out of the box, as soon as you install Windows 7, if you encrypt your hard drive, you need to store that recovery key. So you don't want to just give your users this and have them store their key. Then they get fired. Hey, what's your password? I forgot. There goes all their data. It's happened. So this probably isn't the best idea. This is what the setup screen looks like. Basically, you could print the recovery key. Probably not the best idea. Or save it to a file. Maybe another encrypted device. So, like I said, there are some issues with this. They require a PIN number or USB. So, for example, if you're doing full disk encryption in your data center for your hard drives, you don't have a very secure data center, which does happen, 9 Terramark. But if you don't have a secure data center, you might do full disk encryption, but then you shut down your server, you boot it back up. Someone has to physically be there to type this key in or use a USB key. Also, Bitlocker is not a replacement for encrypted file systems. Once you unencrypt the machine on boot, that does not stop anyone else from logging into your machine and seeing what shared files you have and all that. This is just for full disk encryption. This is solved by using encrypted file system. So some issues, like I said, it requires a trusted platform module on your laptop. So as you buy new laptops, just make sure that includes this. Usually you don't see this at the spec at Best Buy, but hopefully little by little they'll all be moving there. In a corporate environment, any Windows 2003 Service Pack 1 or above domain controller has group policies for this. So you can actually require encryption on the drives and store the password for whatever users under their username in AD. And that is good in case they leave or whatnot, you'll be able to restore it. However, if you delete the user or disable the user, you won't be able to retrieve the key, which is a little overlooked by Microsoft, but slowly we're moving to better stuff.
Is Bitlocker available also on professional, or is it just Enterprise Ultimate?
It's Ultimate and Enterprise. It's not available for Pro or for Home. And
because I imagine Pro is probably the version, isn't it the version most clients
in a small business they use Pro. That is correct. However, if you don't have to use Bitlocker, there is TrueCrypt, which is free if you're using a small business and whatnot. Or there are other solutions that do full disk encryption. PGP is a big one. Definitely something you should do. Like, you lose a laptop, They're going to get the data on it. Everyone should be doing full disk encryption. It's best practice.
So what's the recommended procedure when you terminate an employee and they have BitLocker turned on? You disable the account?
Disable the account
change
without
the
deleting it.
password, then somebody else can log in, you re-enable it,
Yep.
and you have the key to...
Or before disabling, pull the key out of the AD. But you can disable the user and then enable it, disable the user when you get their laptop back. Enable the user, recover it, then disable the user again. But yes, as soon as you fire someone, you should definitely disable their account. Straight off the bat. So, Bitlocker To Go is for USB and removable storage. How many people encrypt their flash drives?
I don't use flash drives.
Okay, no one encrypts. Flash drives are the easiest thing to lose. How many people have lost flash drives? If you had full disk encryption, hopefully your data would be saved. So this encrypts removable storage. Survey shows that 40% of workers lose USB sticks. So definitely, if your corporation allows or your business allows removable media, should be encrypted. You can do this through group policy as well.
So you can force them to force
You can
encryption?
force any USB, any removable media that's plugged in must use Bitlocker or Bitlocker To Go, which is pretty good. Recent story this week, over in UK, local authority IT systems got the conflict or D-worm because someone brought in a USB key. They used encryption. They probably wouldn't be able to unencrypt at home because, quick thing, any links that I put up, I have bit.ly, this is a URL shortening service. If you guys want to check out any of the articles, are in order. So the first one is this one, the second one is this one. Basically, it's a URL shortener. You type it in and it takes you to a full URL. So that's helpful in case you want to go back and check my references. So some issues with Bitlocker To Go. It doesn't work with other operating systems. So I encrypted this 4 gig USB flash drive on my Windows 7 machine, and then I plugged it into my Mac, and I couldn't read anything. Fail. On Vista and XP, you can open it, but it doesn't encrypt back. So it only works on Windows 7. To write and to read, it only works on Windows 7. To read, you can use Vista and XP. Another fail. And it's password-based. I don't know, maybe some way of attacking the recovery file, or some way of brute forcing it. It's too new, so no one's actually brought these up yet, but sooner or later, as more people use it, they'll find ways. But yeah, definitely you want to encrypt anything that you might lose. To biometric security, there's an option with most new laptops. They actually bring biometrics before TPM, which I don't understand that. Before Windows Vista and Windows XP, you had to use whatever software came, so the HP, for instance. One of our security guys, we had these HP Biometric Security on our laptops, and since it is software at the end, they were just swiping their finger, swiping, denial of service, you're in the operating system. So Microsoft came out with Biometric Security. It's tied to the operating system. It looks to be secure, a little more secure than OEM software, and you can use it to log in at the local level or at the domain level. So this is a little bit of added security they have added. And Internet Explorer 8.
Does their biometric solution also extend out to the application level, like UPAC, third party, stuff like that?
Yeah, you configure. It depends under the control panel. If you do it with the operating system, it will work only for logging in. If you want it to, you say for stored passwords and whatnot, you'll probably have to add another application for that. I haven't been able to do that yet. And storing passwords, some like it, some don't, especially on browsers. Someone, it's stored somewhere. Hopefully it uses good encryption, whatever third party you use. But yeah, if you have biometrics on your machine, you'll be able to install third party software.
You can actually use different fingers for different passwords.
You can do all 10 fingers, I'm sorry. You can, all 10. And it actually tells you select which one you want to swipe. So
You have to tell which finger you're swiping, or
Yeah.
will it automatically tell?
you have to tell it which finger you're swiping. They give you a diagram like this. I should put that diagram instead. It would have been cool. Give you 10 fingers and you choose which one. So Internet Explorer 8, how many are using IE8? How many people use Internet Explorer? At all? A few of you? Okay. I know you don't have a choice. Okay. So Internet Explorer 8, it can be used on XP and Vista. You can upgrade to them right now if you want. It is better than IE6. Is anyone using IE6 yet still? Please don't do that. Like, upgrade to 7 or 8. Like, again, 8 years old. So it has Smart Screen. That is, the phishing filter is now called Smart Screen. I'll show you a little demo on that one in a second. Basically, everyone knows what a phishing site is, right? A site that says, oh, we're Bank of America, log in, and it's clearly not Bank of America. It has a cross-site scripting filter, which I haven't seen work yet, but I have seen a screenshot and it looks cool. A lot of these sites, and as you see, more people are going to attacking web apps. The sites are vulnerable to cross-site scripting, and this is one of the biggest vulnerabilities. So IE8 actually detects a site that's going to try to use cross-site scripting. So for example, if you log into twitter.com, you put in remember me, and then you go to another site that uses cross-site scripting, Microsoft won't let it use it. Microsoft Internet Explorer won't let you. It will disable that code in the page. This is the one that would attack most end users. And it has data execution prevention, which was built in, I think it came out on Windows XP, and it's cool. It basically protects you from malware being ran from the IE Explorer process. And also every tab that you open has tab browsing like Windows 7 did, but like Windows Vista and IE7 did. And each tab runs its own process, which is a lot more secure than it was before. So, who's heard of the acid test? No? A few of you? Okay. There's a standard, web standards. I know Microsoft does not like that word standard, but this basically tests it for a few things, HTML and whatnot. On the left, we have an Internet Explorer 8 page running the ACID 3 test. It passed 20 out of 100. On the right, Firefox got to 93 out of 100. As you can see, those should be colored boxes. Didn't do so well in that, but Microsoft usually does not follow standards at all anyway. And this is another screenshot of everything that failed in IE8 in their acid test. Another thing, the Smart Screen filter. On the left, we have IE. As you can tell, it highlights on the top. I don't see if you can see it. It's a 72.46 address. It does highlight the address that you're going to, and everything else is more boxed out, but clearly it's not Postale Italiana's website. Firefox did catch it. This one took you right to it. So I don't know if it's because it's an Italian site or whatnot, but be careful for. It's not going to stop everything, so be careful for phishing sites. There is something that IE8 won in. A recent study, actually 2-3 days ago, saw that IE8 has the best battery life. So if you're on a plane and you have the choice of web browsers, IE8 will last a few more minutes than Firefox and Chrome. So XP mode. Who's heard of XP mode? No? Yeah? One? Okay. So XP, without a doubt, and as Vista clearly saw, remains the standard for applications. If you have an application, most likely it'll work for XP, might not work for Vista, might not work for 7. So they come out with XP mode. It's not on by default. You have to install it. It uses virtual PC. You guys have used virtualization technology, VMware, VirtualBox, any of those. So it's a virtual instance of XP running in your system. And what it does is you install whatever application you want, and Windows 7 actually detects that you want to run the application on XP. So it adds it to a start menu. Your users or yourself will go to Start menu, open this application, and it'll actually be running on an XP virtual machine. But you won't see the virtual machine pop up, you'll only see that window. This is awesome if you have older applications that you have to run. You can deploy XP mode. So it makes it easy and compatible. This can be done, you could create one virtual machine, one XP mode machine, and deploy to your entire organization. And an issue with XP mode is that this is a Windows XP machine running within your host. That means you need to keep that one secure as well. If you have one machine, your Windows 7 machine is completely secure, but the XP one is not, you're still vulnerable. So that's something that, if you're doing a corporation, you can run it through your SMS or whatever, treat it as its own operating system. and hopefully keep it secure, because you're only as secure as your weakest link. So 2008 R2 is coming out, and they're pushing for you to upgrade. When you go to 7, go to this, because they want more money. Just kidding. Microsoft doesn't want your money. So there are a lot of features that integrate with Windows 7 a lot better. One of that is App Locker. This was introduced back in XP, but no one ever used it. It's application whitelisting. So say you have a user that needs to have admin privileges for God knows what reason. No one needs admin privileges. But anyway. They need admin, so you can give them admin and then run App Locker through group policy, and they won't be able to run any application unless you whitelist it. Or, in reverse, you can blacklist. Say, don't run these programs. The best idea would be to whitelist and just say, run these company-approved programs, and that's it. They have admin, but they can't install, whatever people are installing nowadays. That messes up your corporate network. There's another feature called branch catch. This, you have satellite offices or other branches. Basically, you spend a lot of money downloading stuff through the WAN or through your VPN from corporate headquarters or from wherever your data center is. So you have a 2008 server on the border, on the edge, and it'll catch all the files. So really, if 10 people need to download one file from some corporate server, it'll download it once through your internet connection, and then everyone else just gets it from the server internally. Pretty cool stuff. Might help your bandwidth, overhead. And lastly, direct access. Now this one's real cool. I played with it a little bit. Basically, it eliminates the need for VPN. All your mobile workers can use this to, I don't know how it works yet, I'm figuring it out, to be connected to, it's not through VPN though, to be connected. I know it uses SSL, it can use IP version 6, and it could use IPsec. And basically you're on the internet and everything's going through your work. And that's a few things that will make Windows 7 a little better, and have a few features that you can only use with 2008. As far as management with Windows 7, it comes with PowerShell version 2. Anyone use PowerShell? 1, 2, kind of? Okay, so it's basically the command prompt was the official and old MS-DOS days, so everyone wanted an actual shell, and this was Microsoft's answer. It's pretty cool. It's better for administering your servers, your IIS servers, your Exchange servers, and remote management of systems. There are a lot of commandlets for it, and overall, this will only appeal to system admins, but it's pretty cool. It comes standard with 7. And group policy over Windows 7, you can really do anything through group policy now. That's also with 2008. With 2003, you can do it. 2008 brings a lot of newer policies. So is Windows 7 secure? So far, it has been. But again, it hasn't been released to the public till October 22nd. RTM is out. September patch Tuesdays, the second Tuesday of every month. Microsoft releases patches, which you all apply, correct? None of the vulnerabilities affecting those patches, patched, right? affected Windows 7, the full version, the retail version, which is good news. And who heard about the SMB version 2.0 day? Okay, so if you have, you need to hear about this. If you have Windows 2008 or Microsoft Vista, and you have file sharing enabled, which is port 445, you can cause a denial of service with a command. I have a Python script here that will do it. It's 10 lines of code. Denial of service, Windows 2008, if you're running Active Directory servers, most likely 445 is open. The good thing is that you don't open up those ports to the external sites, but any malicious or bad-thinking employee of yours that gets a hold of the script could take down your Active Directory, your Exchange, any 2008 server. And actually, last night, Immunity released a remote data execution for that. So I haven't seen it yet, but it looks nasty. However, that does not affect Windows 7 full retail version. And there's another link for that. I'm going to post this later, so if you're not writing down references and want to see them, I'll post it. So a few things that are like my pet peeves that still Windows 7 has not figured out. Hide extension for no file types. So I created this file called horriblemalware.txt.exe. So what is it? An executable file. It's not a text file, right? Because the final extension is what the file really is. So on command prompt, you do a show directory. I put in a directory called C sucks. And horrible_malware.txt.exe. It's an executable file. How does Windows Explorer see it? As a text file. This is one of my pet peeves because most users will click that expecting Notepad to open. And it's not going to open. That was one. 2, Autorun. This finally got fixed. And this always goes with the example. If you find a flash drive on the floor in a parking lot, are you going to take it home and plug it in? Be honest. Be honest. Okay. So what happens when you plug that in on Vista or XP? The Autorun shows up, and if you have it configured correctly, it will run that code just from plugging it in. Windows 7 finally doesn't allow you to run anything from removable media. And here it says non-optical. So it is easier for me to distribute a bunch of CDs with malware on it. Less chance of you getting it and plugging it into your computer. But it still works. So the right screen shows an autoplay of a removable disk. Notice how there's no option to run it. And the bottom screen of a DVD or a CD has install or run program from your media. Again, this was a huge exploit.
Just curious, that XPVM, does Autorun work?
You have to enable it to read your flash drive automatically in the VM, which Virtual Player doesn't do it by default. But if you do have it, yes. And it will pop up. And since it has this whole Unity-like feel, it'll look like it's going to run on your 7 machine, but it's really going to run on your XP. So yes, you can still get XP machines if you have that configured correctly. There is a patch available for Vista and XP machines. I suggest you install this. There's the link for it. You can install this update on any Windows system, so anyone that thinks they got lucky finding an 8 gig flash drive and realizes they have just become part of my botnet does not.
What about all the flash drive manufacturers like Sans? There was this all that U3 that. I mean, what about all this flash drive?
It won't run.
They're gonna not
Yeah.
be happy.
I haven't tried it. I have a U3 drive, but I formatted it, so I don't have it. I don't have the software. But I haven't tried it yet. That'd be interesting to see. It probably won't run. You'll have to go in and run it yourself, you know. So, Pete asked about the upgrade path from XP or Vista. This is what it looks like, and this is official from Microsoft. I stole it from you guys. All the blue means that you have to do a clean install. And all the green means that you can do an in-place upgrade. So as you can see, you can upgrade only from Vista, not from XP. And you have to use the same bit version and the same version of Home or Home Premium, Business, and Ultimate. Doesn't look too easy, right? Actually, my slides are getting cut off. I didn't notice. Something to do note, if you have Windows XP, you can still buy an upgrade license for Windows 7. Correct? You can. It's still considered an upgrade. So don't go out because you have XP and buy a full version. And it'll let you install it. It'll have to be a clean install. So there are a lot of tools out there that will let you do this. In a corporate environment, I suggest you just, as you give out new laptops or as laptops get fried or whatnot, start going to 7 and deploying them straight from 7 because upgrading can take a full day. This is a chart of testing for an upgrade. So if you have a super user that has over 650 gigs, hopefully you don't have too many of those, and over 40 applications, and you're doing a 32-bit install, it'll take 1,200 minutes for it to do. And this is proven to have done it. They did it. The best upgrade is from 64-bit. It does it a lot quicker, and, you know, usually best practices have always been if you're upgrading to a new operating system, do a clean install. I usually do, but if you want to upgrade, be prepared if you're a super user. So, evolve. Cybercrime is up. Everyone knows this, and 3 days ago, this came out. Cybercrime has surpassed illegal drug trafficking as a criminal moneymaker. 1 in 5 will become a victim. The threats have evolved. They're less platform-centric now. They don't really care if you're running when Microsoft has actually done a really good job securing their operating system. So they don't mind that you're running Vista or XP or whatnot. Their attacks are not platform-centric. And the cybercrime, the chart is from SANS. How many here visit SANS.org? It's a good resource for security. They released a few days ago their top cybersecurity risks for the first half of the year, and these are some of the things that they mention. The attacks are now on applications, so Microsoft Office, all your apps, that is what is getting targeted. Also, your browser is getting targeted. If you use IE, you use Firefox and whatnot. That's where most of the attacks are coming from now. No longer are hackers going after... If they're going after your corporate network, usually you have NIDS, IDS, HIDS, IPS, bunch of security on there. So what are they attacking? Your web applications, because you have 480 open. So, OWASP, my brother, you know that is true. And lastly, they're attacking your users. That is the weakest link and will forever be the weakest link. As more operating systems get more secure and more secure and more secure, the user is going to be the weakest link. So, how do you solve that? Staying current, follow the news, see what's going on, and train your users. This is the most important thing. A lot of people, you get new employees come in, you don't train them on your systems, you don't train them on security. There's security awareness training that you could conduct. Even browsing security training, teach them how to really browse and what not to click and whatnot. Although it might sound simple, some users they just click whatever they see. And this is very evident in the residential market. And most computers you see that are residential have some form of malware. And it's just because people click without ever getting proper training. And lastly, Windows training. You're moving from a Vista or from an XP to a Windows 7. It's a new operating system. You want to train your users on how to use it, not only for security reasons, but how to be more efficient. Microsoft spent a lot of time putting a lot of things that make you quicker, more productive, more efficient. So you want to, even though you might know this, you want to let your users know this so they become more efficient. So, quick recap, if you're running Windows now, you will eventually be running Windows 7 unless you plan to go to Vista, which is not very recommended. So, you need to plan accordingly and secure it. Educate your users. Use Bitlocker or some sort of full disk encryption. TrueCrypt is a free one. Encrypt your flash drives, encrypt your removable media, and encrypt your laptops. Some people even go as far as encrypting their server hard disk, because you lose this, and how much company data do you really have on here? It's important, and it'll keep you a little more secure. Patch everything, that goes without saying. Don't just do Windows updates, but also Adobe Flash. That's one of the big ones lately. Or Office products, or Sun Java, or all that needs to be patched. Most organizations have a patching, an SMS server, or some sort of third-party patching platform. And that's definitely something you need to do, because every day 0 days come out and patches come out for them, and you want to stay secure. You still have to use Use anti-malware, antivirus, anti-spyware, depending on the user. The more educated the user, the more leverage you can give, but it goes back to educating the user. I like Firefox. I recommend using Firefox. And there are 2 add-ons that you can use. NoScript. Anyone use NoScript? Good stuff. Basically, you have to if you go to a website, AOL.com, and it has ads from other places, it won't run them. You'll have to manually go and say, allow ads.com or DoubleClick or whatever. And Web of Trust, WOT, is site reputation. It's a website for site reputation. So basically, as you go through links, there's a little logo next to every link. Red means the site is probably bad. Green means the site is trusted. And yellow means it hasn't been verified. It's pretty cool, and small things that at least let you know where to click. How many people here actually go and run Internet Explorer web browsers in a sandbox environment? No? Yeah? Okay. Yeah, some people, some of the paranoid ones. We have a VM just for web browsing. That every day we just go back to the snapshot, just because.
Easier than reformatting your machine or
It's a lot easier than reformatting your machine or going through trouble. So even with the XP machine, you can do snapshots with virtual PC. You could do snapshots, create a base system, take a snapshot, use it all day for web browsing. At the end of the day, revert to your snapshot. You're not going to lose anything unless your temporary internet files are important to you. And it allows you to be more secure. Right now, everything's coming through the web. As you saw, Windows 7 is it's a lot more secure, and that's the way they're going to attack. They're going to go through the web or social engineering you some way.
George, which anti-malware do you like?
On my system, I don't run any, but whenever I do, I get a call from a buddy. I run Malwarebytes, anti-malware. Have you heard of it? It's not active, but you run it whenever you want. It's probably the best one. There are other ones, like AVG is a free one that's pretty good. But nowadays, you get some sort of malware, and unless you're interested in actually taking the malware apart and figuring it out, you're going to end up formatting, like he said, just because they're installing everywhere. Like scareware.
You can take them apart
and you still have stuff all over the place. Because as soon as one installs, you're going to get a bunch of others. And scareware lately is the big one, and that's why you need to train your users. Scareware is a website that says, I'm scanning your computer, you have a virus, click here to remove it. And a user will go and click it, and they will willingly install an antivirus that is not a good antivirus, it's a rogue antivirus. They'll install it, and then they'll say, hey, pay for it to work. And then they go out, they give their credit card, next thing you know, identity theft, a bunch of stuff. All because you didn't train your users, or you didn't know what you were clicking. And I actually saw a case of that today. So, going back to Windows 7, carefully plan migrating from XP to 7. It's going to be a big jump, but it's going to have to be made eventually. Not like Vista, but... And train your users, like I said. Security awareness, browser using, and Windows 7 training are all some good stuff. Here's my information. You can email me. I'm pretty good about emailing back. I have a blog on orchillas.com. I tweet mostly about IT. Both of these are IT and IT security. I'm not going to tell you how to cheer.
All right, folks, we need a wild round of applause on tape now. Well done, George.